The Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
1490 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz, and you're listening to the Financial Survival Network, which is brought to you by Miles Franklin. They've been in business selling gold and silver for over 20 years, and I'm a customer because when you buy, they ship. For more information, find them on the web at milesfranklin.com or give them a call at 800-822-8080 and get a free quote. Hi, it's Carrie Lutz, and it's finally time for another Triple Lutz Report. This is episode 187, and it's May 21st, 2012. First, as you've probably seen from my recent posts, I was fortunate enough to attend Hard Assets New York last Monday and Tuesday. I've been there many times before, but never an exhibitor, never with a booth. And I got to hang out with many of the people you hear me speaking with on the show regularly. Guys like Mickey Fulp, the ever-mercenary geologist, Ron Hera, mining stock picker extraordinaire, and the always-on Danielle Park of jugglingdynamite.com. Hey, but the real surprise to me was how many of you were at the conference. A special shout-out to Anthony and Pat Condos, and fellow comrades of the People's Republic of New York. I interviewed them, and if I can get the file fixed, you'll hear from them real soon. If not, I'm going to interview them again. It was total fun. I must have seen 20 or 30 people who listened to the show, just like you. And it was great. I wish I could have interviewed more of them, but I'm making a special outreach effort to interview as many of you out there as I can. Your opinions, your views are so important, and they're what makes this show work. And I know I'm not always as perfect responding to emails as I'd like, but I'm working on a new system for that now. So I just ask you to be a little bit patient. The volume of emails and comments has been overwhelming of recent, so I get back as best I can. And I was traveling a bit, so I haven't been able to do as much as I want. But I have to say, just seeing you there face to face and hearing your kind words, well, it really made having to spend a couple of days in Nanny Bloomberg's Stalinist theme park all worth it. And I made sure on my way in and out that my cell phone was safely concealed and that Nanny's boys in blue couldn't come after me for that major infraction of the law. Others, well, who amongst us isn't a felon in the eyes of some overzealous bureaucrat? It's really you and me against them, and never forget, because they sure don't. You know that New York is a major trade show destination, which I've never been able to understand. New York City is a friggin' union organizer's paradise. Everything that's wrong with private and public sector unions, it's on display for all to see, especially at a trade show. You want a power outlet to charge your devices? That'll be $150. You want Wi-Fi for 2 devices? That's $750 per day. It's thieving outrageousness, and not necessarily compliments of the union or the unions. They don't have a monopoly on screwing you over. Who said they did in New York? They're all out to empty your pockets and send you home broke. It's like what they really want to do in Vegas, but in New York, they actually do it. The whole concept of a city, especially socialist havens like New York City, Boston, Detroit, Chicago, and most of them, it's all about redistribution. Steal your money at the barrel of a gun and give it to their union buddies, as well as spread it out enough, spread the wealth to buy the next election. All I can tell you is have heart. This way of doing business where government is simply a branch office of the local mob, it's coming to an end. It was predicated on ever-increasing government spending fed by ever-increasing taxes and fees and debt. Well, as Eric Sprott said at the show, we've reached our Minsky moment. And for those of you who don't know about Hyman Minsky, he was an American economist who studied crises and studied them very well. And his moment happens when there's a general recognition that the debt owed or undertaking can't ever be repaid and is getting ever harder to service. So here we are now, and the solution is really simple. Repudiate the debt in an orderly fashion, or you repudiate it by inflation. But either way, it's a repudiation. And what's repudiation, you ask? Well, you've borrowed $50K on your credit cards to buy flat screens, new appliances, and that hot tub you've just been dying to own. The debt is interest-free for 1 year, and you're unemployed and already can't pay your mortgage. But hey, 1 year is a long time, and maybe the Obama-Romney recovery is going to happen and just save your bacon. But alas, you know this story. We've seen it over and over again. The year comes and goes, and you still can't pay it back. So you tell them, sorry, I don't have any money. Like that guy on Saturday Night Live. Why didn't you file your taxes? The IRS asks him. Sorry, I forgot. Well, what do? You might want to go bankrupt. Thus, your Minsky moment has arrived, and you do what the government is going to do. But make no mistake, they're doing it now through inflation, through creation of excessive monetary units out of thin air because those units are not backed by gold and silver. So here's my plan. Let's just do it honestly. This is what Peter Schiff says. Get rid of the debt now. I believe these too big to fail banks, dismantle them now. Derivatives, outlaw them. Repudiate, void all of them. Deposits up to $25,000 in these banks should be paid out, or perhaps a fixed percentage of the total deposits, somewhere around 10%. All other deposits eliminated. All debts owed to the bank and to all bondholders, 90% haircut. Gone. Free banking should be proclaimed across the land like it was in the 1800s, along with the right to pay with whatever currency or monetary unit that the recipient is willing to accept. No more of these legal tender laws that force people to take bad money, force them to take paper. Because look, if you're free to choose what money you're going to take, you'll take the money that actually has value. It's that simple. And all government debt, 90 to 95% repudiation, canceled. All funds in M0, M1, and perhaps even M2, backed by gold, and the ability of banks to create money out of thin air, done away with. Eliminate the Fed, the FDIC, and all other government interventionist financial entities. Their debt also repudiated, and we start over. Often this is called a Jubilee. It's in the Bible. Believe me, debt is not a new occurrence. Debt has been with man since the beginning of time. And there's good debt, as Robert Kiyosaki likes to say, and there's bad debt. Unfortunately now, the distinctions between the two are really blurring. Good debt is money that you borrow from the bank to invest in an asset that yields cash flow. Bad debt is money that you borrow from the bank to buy an asset with that doesn't produce cash flow. So that $3,000 that you took out on the credit card to buy a flat screen, bad debt. That $100,000 you took out to invest in a new business where you're creating something of value, potentially good debt, right? You need to realize that. But right now, all the debt is bad because nobody can afford to pay it back. It needs to be repudiated, and we need to end the days of the government picking winners and losers. That is repugnant. It's disgusting. And the basis of them picking the winners and the losers generally revolves around how much they received in campaign contributions from the winner. All right? And you become a loser when you don't pay enough contributions and a competitor or someone else puts in more than you, and then you're the loser. They're the winner. Happens over and over and over again. This is crony capitalism at its worst. So will all this happen? Don't kid yourself. Of course it won't. But nothing short of this is ever going to bring the United States economy back and Western Europe's and most of the world's. All right? There's two parts of the economy now. Those that have collapsed, Europe and good chunks of the U.S., and those that are about to collapse, China, Russia, and other parts of the world. The collapse itself will probably be worse in the U.S., North America, and Europe than in other parts, but it's coming to the entire globe. There's no way to escape it. They know this. Anything to the contrary, any indications, not true. So is my plan going to happen? Of course not. But look, nothing short of it is ever going to work. Because remember, you and I are facing the U.S. government's Minsky moment, and it's certainly coming to a city near you soon, if it hasn't already. If you live in Detroit, if you live in Cleveland, if you live in Las Vegas, if you live in Los Angeles, if you live in so many other places in this country, these cities are collapsing. Their Minsky moment has come. Again, I just want to say heartfelt thanks to those of you who joined me at Hard Assets New York. This is Kerry Lutz, been another Triple Lutz Report, signing off.